If you have a lot of photos named something like img6716.jpg and want to give them a more meaningful name, we'll show you how to rename thousands of images at once. That's coming up. If you have a Mac running OS X Yosemite, you can quickly rename many files at once. First, let's check and see if we have OS X Yosemite. You do that by clicking on the Apple menu in the upper left and choosing About This Mac. A little window will show up, and at the top you'll see which version of Yosemite you're running, which version of OS X you're running. You can see 10.10 is Yosemite. So if you're using 10.9.x or anything lower, you won't be able to do this. You can upgrade your OS X for free by visiting the iTunes store and searching for OS X Update. So now that we know we have OS X Yosemite, we can go and look into how to rename multiple files at once. Close this window, and I have a Finder window open, and I've navigated to the Pictures folder on my drive, where I have an auto import folder where I've imported a number of images from my iPhone 6 Plus. You can see these image names don't really help too much, and what we can do is we can add a descriptor, add something that means something. So when I'm looking for a picture or I'm just scanning through the pictures, I'll have a good idea of what the picture is without having to open it. So how do we do that? Well, first let's take a look. Here's some pictures from a color run that we did, which was great, by the way. Great experience. So let's take a look. So from here to, let's say here, these are color run images. So I'll select them. With them selected, I'll hold down the control button and click on my trackpad. You can also right click if you have a right click mouse, or you can use two fingers and tap the lower right corner of your trackpad as a way to bring up this context menu that you see here. One of the options we have is the rename 36 items. So click on that. This is the rename window within the Finder window. You see we have three options to rename these files. First, let's look at the option that's replace text. So here we can completely replace the text that we want with something else. This is useful if, let's say, you have a space maybe in these images that you want to get rid of, or that underscore. I could select that underscore and replace it with a dash, let's say. So you can see here, it's automatically showing me that the new file name will be img-6844.jpg instead of underscore. It's not really helpful, just to show you what you can do with this replace option. We can choose, img and replace that with color run. If we wanted to, we can do something like that. Get rid of the img underscore, replace it with color run, and then the number. I'd keep the number because for me, I take a lot of pictures with my iPhone, so it gives me an idea of when in time I took that picture. It's an indicator that I like to keep. So that's one way we could rename this image. Next, let's look at add text. So what add text is going to do is what it sounds like. It's just going to keep the existing name, and then it's just going to add something to the either end or beginning of the file name. So we could do something like color run. You can see the new name will be the img_6844 dash, and it's going to add that color run to the end of it. Let's say we wanted it before, we could do that too. Color run dash, and now the new name would be color run dash img. So you can see it's really quick, really helpful way to organize your photos. Let's look at the last one. Last one is the format option, where you can completely redo the whole name to something that you want. Now the first option, show you how this works. We can do color run, and we can add a sequential number to it if we wanted to. We're choosing, so we're replacing the entire string img68 blank blank with this color run, and we're adding a number to it. And that's where the name and that's the index part of this format. We can choose, add the number before or after, and it's only going to add the single digit. So let's take a look at the next one. Is the counter. Counter is going to add 4 zeros and then the number that you choose to start at, before or after, as you can see there. And then the name and date, what's that? The name and date is going to add this string, which you really don't have too many options. It's just going to add the date, starting with the year, month, day, at, and the time. And it's going to use the time that it is now on your computer, not the time that maybe that you took the photo. So I don't know how helpful that is in this situation. It's not very helpful. So that's it. So for this purpose, let's go back to the add text, replace text. Actually, let's go back to the replace text. So I like this option the best for these color run images. So I keep the number so that I can have a sense of 6844. You know, that's fairly recent. I know the earlier the number, the longer ago it was, and I know how long it was since I got my iPhone. So I'm gonna keep that. So let's click rename, and that fast we've got a better name that we can now get an idea of what that picture was about. If you want more useful tech tips, subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next week for another problem-solving tip.